guys, it's Erica Galinas with the Mike Mikada team at Century 21 Affiliated here for our Ask the Agent segment for this week. This week we're going to talk about the secrets of a pre-approval letter. There's not really too many secrets. It's relatively straightforward, but I know my buyers oftentimes have a lot of questions before they go through the process about what it is, how it works, all that kind of stuff. So I figured we covered the basics of the pre-approval. I will give you information on what I'm used to. Obviously, the mortgage company, the bank, is the one that issues the pre-approval. So different banks have different standards. They're all in the same area, though. So maybe I might miss a couple things that your bank needs. I might say a couple extra things that your bank doesn't care about. Either way, we'll get the basics in. Again, they're pretty straightforward. So pre-approval letter, what is it? As you can guess, a pre-approval letter is a document from a mortgage lender that says you are qualified to buy a house, okay? And so it depends on what kind of house, your credit, the bank, all these different kinds of things. It should say not exactly what house you can buy, but it'll give you the basics that you need to work with to know, what you're looking for. So it'll give you a price or a price range. It will give you the type of loan you qualify for, whether it's an FHA loan, USDA loan, a conventional loan. That should be in the letter as well. Oftentimes, bank will issue a pre-approval letter that will have the amount of down payment you need to put. It'll be either a percentage, like FHA will say 3.5%, and then we can figure out from there if you're making an offer on a $100,000 house or $200,000 house or whatever it is, we can, math out the 3.5%. It may say that you are required to get closing costs from the seller, and I don't know if I've talked about that in the past. I'll probably do that in a future video, but as a buyer, as part of the offer you can make, you can ask your seller to put a certain percentage or a certain amount toward your closing costs, okay? So you have to bring the down payment. If you have 3.5% down, you have to show up with 3.5% in cash. The bank wants that. But there's other things that you end up paying for, and different, escrows and things like that. We can request that the seller can pay some of those amounts. That will be in the pre-approval letter. So really what it does is it gives us a roadmap for the financial part of the transaction. It's not always specific. Sometimes you'll have a letter with a specific amount and a specific property address. You may have a letter that's more general, just that, John Smith qualifies for up to $200,000 on an FHA loan with $3,000 in closing costs, or whatever the case may be. But it lets you know and me know that you can buy a house. Not that I think you're lying, not that you're not aware of your position, but it's most important so we know that, A, you can, what price range we're looking in, I guess, that you can afford whatever house it is that we're looking at. It lets you also know what kind of payment you would be looking at that, because once the bank kind of figures out those numbers, they should be able to tell you, it'll be an estimate, but it'll be a close estimate, how much a payment will be. So once you have that information they need for the pre-approval, they will also be able to tell you how much that monthly payment is. Because you may qualify for $350,000, but it's, a $2,100 a month loan. That's a little too much, which, don't be house poor. So we're going to look at something in the $250 range or something like that, so we can make those decisions. Most importantly, what the letter is for is that when we make an offer, we can send it along with it. And I'll get to in just a bit about why that's so important in the market right now. In order to get a pre-approval letter, it's not complicated at all. Contact a mortgage company and say you need a pre-approval for a mortgage. Most lenders will be like, heck yeah, because they work on commissions and have different targets and stuff like that. So they'll be able to sit down with you and say, okay, where are you looking? What's your credit like? Those kinds of things. And then they will ask you for some specific information. So one of the things that they almost always ask you for is your Social Security number so they can do a credit report. They will ask you about your income and may request to see copies of your taxes. That will let them know that, you could say you make $1 million a year, but you only make $60,000 a year. So the bank is going to want to see proof of that before they issue any kind of pre-approval letter. They will, like I said, run your credit report. There may be items on the credit report that they need more information about. So you may have a bankruptcy on there. You may have, a couple bills that are negligible, like $200 or $300 medical bills, they may say to you, this $300 medical bill, if you could pay that off, we can bump your credit score up, 100 points or, 50 points, whatever it turns out to be. And then you can qualify for more or for a better interest rate. So those are the basics that they usually look at for a pre-approval letter. So your credit score and what's on your credit and your income, whether it's combined or apart. Sometimes, the wife makes a good income but has lousy credit, and the husband makes less but has good credit, so the husband's going to be on the loan and not the wife, or, some kind of combination thereof. But knowing all of those things before we go look at houses is extraordinarily important. The reason why, in this market right now, and I've seen it in the past 2 weeks, with a guy I'm working with who's looking for like a starter home, maybe a future investment for like 60 grand, to clients that are looking in the $400,000 plus range, they are losing out to other people. Not necessarily because they're pre-approval, because my buyers are usually pre-approved, but because the market is so competitive. So let's say we're going to look at a house. Everything looks great. The house is awesome. We walk in. Oh my God, it's the best house. This is the house we want. We could sit down and write an offer I've done it at the kitchen table at the house before. Usually I try to do it at like a Starbucks or something, but it's happened. We could do the offer immediately, and I can send the offer immediately, and I can call the listing agent immediately and tell them all these things. But if somebody else does the same thing and they have a pre-approval letter, we're probably going to lose. Potentially the agent could come back and say, can you get us a pre-approval letter? But if, as an agent, and as a seller's agent, if I was selling for you, if I had this offer, which was a decent offer, and this offer with a decent offer that has a pre-approval letter, we're probably going to accept that offer because we know right off the bat that they are pre-approved. So it is extraordinarily important for you to get a pre-approval letter prior to looking at homes. I know it's not fun, and I know it's not particularly sexy, and I know it made me nervous when I bought my house a few years ago. I'm like, what if there's weirdness? I don't pay attention to my credit. But it's something that you have to do. And if, worst case scenario, something's back and it's bad, you know about it. It can be fixed. Most lenders will help you figure out how to fix it. And then, we're, back in the game in 2 months or 6 months or, however long it takes for this issue. There are just, real quick, this happens sometimes, is there's such thing as a pre-approval letter. And it's literally a letter. It's like to, John Smith at his address, Ray buying this house, and it says all these things. But there's a pre-approval letter, and then there's a pre-qualification letter. You want a pre-approval letter. So if you talk to your lender, you tell them you want a pre-approval letter. The difference is, pre-approval is what we've talked about. They've reviewed your credit. They've reviewed your income. They are confident saying, from reviewing actual documents, that you can afford X, whatever it is. A pre-qualification letter just it doesn't say much at all. It just kind of says, they talked to you once, you appear to be a breathing human being who has some kind of job, and you've made certain, assertions as to your, credit or income or whatever it is that you've talked about, and they appear to qualify to apply for a mortgage, which, again, anybody who's standing up and breathing generally can apply for a mortgage. So a pre-qualification letter, if you have one, it's not bad or anything like that, but you really want the pre-approval letter because, again, if I'm working with a seller, if you're selling your house, and two offers that are pretty even, one has a pre-qualification letter and one has a pre-approval letter, pre-approval is going to win. And, again, that's super important in this market where everything's kind of going off the market so fast. It's much busier than I anticipated it would be for this part of the year. I was kind of hoping to relax a little bit, but that's okay. I would rather help people find houses than relax, at least at this point in my life. So again, I understand it can be very nervousing to just start calling up banks and being like, I need a mortgage. What do I got to do? If you have someone in mind, maybe, where you normally bank, where you have your checking account and stuff like that, they have mortgages, wander in there someday and talk to somebody. If you have, somebody online, they run advertising and you can see it, pick up the phone and call them. Email them if you're more comfortable with that. Sometimes when I'm doing something that's a little bit, I'll send an email first just because I don't know how to do certain things and I don't want to look like a jerk. Totally fine. The key is, when you finally talk to somebody, whether it's email, usually on the telephone is the best way that it's going to do. If they are not open with you, if they are not friendly with you, if they are not answering your questions and explaining to you what's going on, just hang up the phone. That's it. There's a million mortgage people out there that you can get a pre-approval from. You know, if you are not comfortable working with them, even if they just seem a little inattentive or a little bit weird, hang up the phone, call somebody else. There's a million of them out there. Obviously, I have lenders that I work with a couple different companies, both banks and brokers. So if you don't have somebody in mind, let me know. I'm happy to make a recommendation for you. Again, I've put together kind of a stable of lenders that I like to work with because they are super cool. And you can call them up and say, I don't know what I'm doing. I need a house. And then they work with you. They're really, really nice. The other thing is that if you're working with your agent, me, hopefully, but with your agent, and the bank is asking you questions about houses that you're not sure about or something like that, have your lender call your agent. You know, we speak the same language. We're working towards the same goal. Have your lender call your agent. So, nobody's going to keep anything secret from you or something like that, but they'll be able to talk to each other, you know, in perhaps a more efficient way, because, again, they speak the language. And then you guys, the three of you, will be able to figure it all out together, and obviously you'll know everything that happens. But, yeah, absolutely get the pre-approval letter. I know it's nervousing, and I know it seems weird, but it is absolutely the most important part of the puzzle. Like I said, if you need a referral to a lender, if you're a buyer who has a pre-approval letter is looking around here, please give me a call, text me anytime, 219-765-2062. You can always send me an email. Like I said, sometimes that's a more comfortable move, and I totally get it. You can send me an email at hsbyerica, so Henry Sam, BY by Erica, ERICA, which is also right there. I should actually put my email address on the sign. So, yeah, hsbyerica@gmail.com. Email me anytime. You know, I check everything. You know, send me a DM through Facebook. Comment here on this video. Please like and follow my Facebook page, Home Sales by Erica. I do these Ask the Agent videos every week, and then on every Monday I actually do market updates I just did one for Munster, and I do them for Crown Point, Lowell, and all the communities here in Lake County that I work in. So you can kind of keep an eye on, you know, what stuff's selling for, you know, if your thing is selling, you know, where the market at. That's it. I mean, it's pretty straightforward. I'm happy to help with whatever you need. Again, if you're uncomfortable with who you're working with, find somebody else. It's always the way to do it. And even if you're working with another agent or something like that, feel free to drop me a line, and I'm happy to share my lenders with you. I always want these loans to close, and I know that I have people that can help us get them closed. So thanks a lot. I will see you guys next week. If you do have a question, something you're wondering about, please let me know. I'm happy to do one of these videos for you. Thanks. Have a good one.